your definition of happiness, your definition of success, where does that come from? If it comes from your conditioning, if it comes from the world, if it comes from society, if it comes even from your culture, your family traditions of the standard that has been set of what success or what happiness is, I can tell you now, that is a pinnacle one will never reach.
Watch them grow, perceive, devote. This is the seed, light the show. Watch them grow.
This month is a great month to make your mental health and your own personal emotional healing a priority. And for some, this may mean finally deciding to start seeing a therapist. And for this reason, I've partnered with BetterHelp to assist you guys in finding a therapist that's right for you. With all of the chaos, confusion, and uncertainty going on in the world right now, coupled with our own personal daily struggles, now is definitely a great time to talk to someone who can not just be a listening ear, but can also help you with the what, the hows, and the whys that you're experiencing what you're experiencing. So if you or someone you know and love is going through something right now and feels the need for a little more help, I stress that you guys take advantage of this resource. Hello, Scorpio, Princess India here. If you're new, trying not to set things on fire. It's getting a little out of control. Welcome to your July reading. Princess India, if you're new, if your family, welcome back. Hopefully you're not gonna watch me set everything on fire. So anywho, in this vicinity, you should see me shuffling you guys cards. This is out of control, y'all. Scorpio, don't judge me, okay? This is out of control. I don't know what's happening in America right now. Oh my God. Okay. I think we're good. Okay. Anywho, I'm going to start with you guys' overall energy card. It's Earth. I think in this deck, I absolutely adore this deck in real life because I think it's really on point for the times that we're in energetically. I'm sorry, there's like sage ash everywhere. Anywho, but of all the cards in the deck, I really love this one. This was a concept that I first learned as a little girl, but I don't know if I showed it to you because I'm really frazzled at the fact that I almost set myself on fire. But anywho, it's Earth, and it says learning how to be human in the world, but not of it. And in the world, but not of it is actually a scripture, and it's a scripture. When I was little, I didn't quite understand what that meant to be in the world, but not of it. But fast forward to now, I have a really deep perception on what this is. So just a quick little gist of it, where this talks about two different groups of Scorpios for the month of July. There's some of you on one side of the fence, some of you on the other side of the fence. There's one group of you that are, well, I'll say this. The goal for both is to be in the world, but not of it. That's the big picture goal of the month. However, the thing that is the issue here is that there's a level of imbalance on both groups' side. There's some of you who are, what my granny used to say, not saying this, but it's just, I like quoting my granny, but she had a term that said, you're too heavenly, you're so heavenly minded that you're no earthly good, right? But the meaning of that is those of us who feel drawn to the metaphysical and spiritual things, or those who identify themselves as starseeds and light workers and things of the sort, with extremism, there's times where we can get too caught up into stuff, right? And so the same of the other side of the Likert scale, which would be someone who's too invested into 3D and completely neglects their spiritual side, right? Now, and this is funny because my brother is a Libra Scorpio cusp, and him and I just had this conversation the other day. It's so funny. But anywho, those who are very fixated on spiritual things sometimes have a tendency to completely negate their humanity and say things like wanting to go home, or, you know, this world is so much, and so on and so forth. And those who are empathic, that can be a possibility, but I say, from experience, you must learn to harness your powers as an empath, if you will, because you're not intended to be a victim of life. Because in the bigger picture of things, all of us elected to come here, right? So your higher self looked at, what it needed to experience or wanted to experience in a physical body, because on the other side, we're all knowing, all seeing, all being. You know what I mean? There's no differences. So it's the thought of, I want to know what it's like to, be a human. So you pick this life. So you're aware of like what challenges and things you need in order to have a fullness of experience. The goal of this experience is to embody yourself, right? So if we think about this in the sense of higher self, the whole purpose of this awakening experience is for your higher self to live through your body, right? Now, prior to us going through this experience, all we are is ego, meaning like your personality, who you are, your experiences, what you've been through, how the world has conditioned you. Those are the only things you know, and you think that that's pretty much all there is to you. You know what I mean? So the epic revolution of this, ascension process, this awakening process, the whole concept behind my use of the word woke is this process. It's existing in the middle of these two extremes. It's being 100% spirit, being 100% human. How the human experience is revolutionized is by embodying your higher self. So then you end up being in the world, but not of it, because you're not a byproduct of the world system. You've been reborn into another system, and you sit in what I call the director's chair of life, So that's when you're above the fray, you're above your experience. You understand that there's systems and processes into life. You know that your happiness cannot be found in the outside world or with other people, but it's an inner state that one cultivates within themselves. And it's an inner sanctum you can always retreat to despite what it is that's going on in the world. It gives you more of a sense of security and peace and, stability, if you will, with all of the things that may go awry in life, right? It's a higher level of awareness, being in the world, but not of it, right? So this is the biggest thing for Scorpios this month. So there's some of you who it's time to start to cultivate a spiritual life. There's others of you who need to start to cultivate a 3D life, you know what I mean? And doing more human-like things. Now, getting into you guys' cards for the month after my mini book therapist TED Talk. Your central energy, we have the Ace of Cups in the reverse. This is challenged by the Nine of Cups. Your past influence is the Wheel of Fortune in the reverse, and that's coming out of June and going into July. Your above energy is the Emperor in the reverse. Your below energy is the Hanged Man in the reverse. And going forward into August, you guys have the Two of Wands in the reverse. And the why everything is popping off in the month of July, we have the Page of Swords in the reverse at the bottom of you guys' deck. So, Scorpio, this is a rather interesting spread, I can tell you that. But the whole thing is centralized with this Ace of Cups in the reverse. I can see this a couple of ways. The vibration of the first thing that came to me, I feel, is for a small group of you. But I mean, it can expand into the larger group. It's more or less of, up to this point, things have not panned out the way that you would like or that you have desired up to this point. So there's a level of disappointment here, right? With one's present state in life. It's feeling, let's just stick with disappointed. I won't dig too deep into that. But the whole thing is here is there's a level of inspiration, something you guys should be going towards or going in the direction of, if you will, that you're not. And I feel that's because of the disappointment. But just looking at, like, pulling back out and looking at all of this, this, I'm trying to make sure I get the words right, because the way I was about to say it out my mouth, I feel like it could be misconstrued. and I want to make sure I say it properly because it's touchy. We're talking about a matter of perspective, if you will. It's a matter of perspective. Because I'm not saying that you guys were not disappointed in the past, because I mean, granted you were, but the most important thing for you guys to take into account this month is your perspective on your experience, right? So if I pull back from this card a little bit, right? When we talk about happiness, like what your wishes fulfilled look like, the question would be, an example of what I'm trying to explain here would more or less be your definition of happiness, your definition of success. Where does that come from, right? Now, if it comes from your conditioning, if it comes from the world, if it comes from society, right? If it comes even from your culture, your family traditions, right? Of the standard that has been set of what success or what happiness is, I can tell you now that is a pinnacle one will never reach, right? Because when a standard is set, like if a person like me, for instance, right? If I were to tell all of my Scorpio subscribers, this is what happiness is, you know what I'm saying? This is what success is, right? Both of these things are based not on you or who you are, your zodiac sign, your background, your desires, none of that. It's based on what Princess says that success and happiness are. So I'm not taking you into account. I'm only going off my own biased opinion of what I believe my definition of success and happiness are, right? So my definition of success and happiness are based on me, what I personally feel based on my experience and what I know and what I gravitate towards to define these two things. Now, if I give these two things to you as a standard and you're nothing like me, then you will follow a path to get these two things that I say success and happiness are. And when you acquire all of the stuff to have these two things and you find yourself still unfulfilled, the instantaneous human thought is, it's my fault. It's something I did wrong. Like, why is this? Something must be wrong with me, of this is what happiness is, or this is what success is, but I still don't feel happy or fulfilled, you know? Like, hypothetically, you know, if a person's married, like, you know, I have a great wife or husband, I have really wonderful children, I have a really nice house, nice car, I have this really great job, and I make this amount of money, and, you know, my family's healthy or whatever, but I'm still not happy, right? That's because that definition of happiness isn't your own. It's one external to you, right? So that would fall more into this category of people who are more fixated on worldly type of things. Spiritual awareness gives you that concept, like your personal self-actualization, gives you that concept of knowing what's unique to you, what makes you happy, what you define as success, and you break from the chains of what the world says you should, ought, or supposed to be, and you trailblaze your own path, if you will, right? And I feel that's what the source of the issue is here, because this Ace of Cups in the reverse and this Page of Swords in the reverse as well, along with this Wheel of Fortune, this lets me know that coming into this month, the feeling of what Scorpio is feeling is more or less that life has been a trial and a tribulation, if you will. It's almost as if things are never really working out, and it feels like an uphill battle in so many words. That's those disappointments that we're talking about. You know what I mean? And it's a constant looking back to see if you missed something or if you missed an opportunity, feeling as if there's unfinished business with your past, because it's the thought of at present. It's not being fully fulfilled with what it is that you're having at present. That's what you're working towards. You want to be fulfilled, You know what I mean? There's stuff that you want to do, but things have gone awry. So it's not really popping for you in the present. So it's a tendency to go backwards and think, almost like romanticizing the past, if you will, of thinking maybe you missed opportunities, or if you would have gave that job a chance, or if you would have, went to college or didn't go to college, if you would have married that person or not married that person. It's just this whole cycle that's keeping you guys stuck, and it's rehearsing those disappointments. But the thing that I feel with this is, this month you guys are being given an opportunity to turn this around, because it's more or less, in the midst of all of this, your truth is being denied, in so many words. Because I feel it's almost like a level of shame of what feels right for you. Because with the Page of Swords and the reverse being you guys why for all of this is happening, that's saying to me that the real source of this Ace of Cups in the reverse, the real source of this discontent or this resistance you guys may be feeling, or like this never-ending path of trying to find happiness and satisfaction, it lies in the fact that you're not living your truth. It's more or less, and it feels a lot like shame to me with this Page of Swords in the reverse and the Ace of Cups in the reverse. It's almost like it's a level of shame for what you want. You know what I mean? Or what you want to pursue. It reminds me kind of what I said with Aries, where I was talking about, if you were an accountant and in your heart, your desire was really to be like a Reiki master or something like that. And the main thing that's stopping you from pursuing that is because it's not a high level type of woo-woo thing that people look at an accountant as. So it's like denying oneself of pursuing what you want because it doesn't fit into this standard that's set by someone that's not you. So it's like sacrificing your own happiness for the benefit of whatever you want to call that, societal expectations, the status quo, what have you. It's very fear-based, but it feels like it's fear-based, but to manifest that into a human emotion, it would be shame. It's almost like being ashamed of who you are, or feeling as if you shouldn't speak. And it's an element of hiding in the shadows. You know what I mean? Yeah, dude. This is interesting because I keep pausing, Scorpio, because it's the energy that I'm feeling with this. It's a very internalized energy. And of course, because all y'all cards is reverse. You know what I'm saying? Whenever cards are in the reverse, it's an inner work that's happening. So what you guys are dealing with doesn't have anything to do so much with other people, like as far as you guys engaging with other people. Everything that's the challenge this month, it's all external influences, like it's challenges and stuff you guys have dealt with people external to you, but the effects of it are all internalized. You know what I mean? It's like with this Wheel of Fortune, the Emperor in the reverse and the Hanged Man in reverse, all of this is like self-denial to me. The Emperor reverse is disempowerment. You know what I mean? It's like it's not standing fully in your power. It's showing up as a lesser version of yourself, right? But then we're like, well, why would someone do that? Why would someone purposefully make themselves small? You know what I mean? And then that's where it comes in with our central energies of it being a level of shame of oneself, or not fitting a particular type of mold, or just flat out denying oneself in favor of another standard that's not even in alignment with you. The biggest challenge this month is with the Hanged Man in the reverse and this Nine of Cups as you guys challenge. It's more or less needing to dig deep and face the truth of your situation, of the fact that the life that you're building, or what you guys are going towards, it's off balance. And going back to our overall energy, it's either you're focused too much on stuff external to you, like I'm a spiritual person, not me, but I'm saying as if I was you, but it's like I'm a spiritual person, and I'm trying to find fulfillment in the world. And the biggest illusion of life is the false perception that the world has something that any of us need. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't. And that's what I mean by, like, if you're trying to live up to a standard that's set by a tradition, family, society, whatever, it's a point you'll never reach. It's almost like in the cartoons when you see the horse and they have a carrot hanging in front of them. That is what you will do to the day that you die, because the world system is not set up for anyone's benefit. It's set up for you to spend your entire life wanting, needing, desiring some other time, place, or state other than the present one that you're in, i.e. advertising and marketing. You know what I mean? Every single advertisement, or for my Australian friends, advertisement. I think people in Britain say that too. Advertisement, you know? It's like you can look at any of those, and the message it's driving home is, this is what you don't have, right? And your life sucks because of it, but this will fix that void that's in your life. You know what I mean? And that's how you'll end up living your entire life. So I'm saying all of that to say, Scorpio, I'm trying to keep it short. We're already kind of long because it's at 20 minutes already, because this feels very heavy to me. And it's like, I feel like I'm trying to sum it up, but this isn't a small problem. This is like existential crisis, but it's the most beautiful kind of existential crisis, because like I said, I think that was like with Taurus, like these are times that separate the wheat from the chaff. You know what I mean? It's like what I really feel, and it's funny, the Wheel of Fortune is here because of the whole dark figure thing. Those of you who've been here a while, you know what I mean? But it's like the whole thing with this, why you feel that your life is happening to you as opposed to for you, is specifically, it's like a negating of one's spiritual self and one's spiritual truth. It's like with the Emperor in reverse, this is ego. You know what I'm saying? So like I said in the beginning, when we talk about embodying your soul, when I talk about mastering your mind, like with the Chariot card, and allowing your heart to master your mind, in so many words, and to lead with your heart, and not in like no wussy kind of way where it's just like, oh, my heart is open, I have no boundaries, and I just love everyone. That's not empowered love. That's not authentic power. Like what the Strength card talks about, that's not what that is. You know what I mean? That's a very needy, codependent type of like, I'm gonna lay myself out on the cross type of stuff. I'm not talking about that. But allowing the wisdom of your heart to be the leader, and your mind being a tool, that's true authentic power. That's something that radiates from within out. What the world teaches us, and this is not talking about people with penises, the Emperor reverse speaks of toxic masculinity, not in the sense of men being toxic, because women are guilty of toxic masculinity too. It's completely negating a person's inner world and solely living in a life that's about competition, winning, domination, me before you, cutthroat committee type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? CTC. Shout out to all my New Orleans people. Anyway, but it's that type of life. And that's unhealthy. It's unbalanced. That's someone who's completely lost in 3D and not paying any attention to their spiritual world. You know what I mean? So when we talk about playing small and suppressing oneself, it's almost a level of being fully aware. Well, I can't even say being fully aware. It's almost being oblivious to one's spiritual self, or somebody who just values the 3D realm over the spiritual realm. And you would rather suppress your truth in pursuit of what, you know, the world says you should want, in so many words. But with this Two of Wands in the reverse going forward, it's more or less still, it's a desire to go forward, but not having a plan, because it's like, I've tried everything and nothing's working to get to this fulfillment and this happiness. You know what I mean? But again, with this Page of Swords in the reverse at the bottom of the deck, the why, it's like, it's telling you your why, because you're not living your truth. You know what I mean? it's either you're denying that you're a human and completely disassociating from 3D, you know what I mean? And that would kind of look like, you know, somebody who's spiritual and woke but won't get a damn job. You know what I'm saying? You can't pay no bills. You sleeping on people's couches and things like that because you don't want to be, you know, you don't want to work for the man. You don't want to be oppressed by this world system and things of the sort. So you go into full-on rebellion of like, I'm going to manifest things that I need. No, that's not how that works. We live in a realm of exchange. Get your ass a job. You know what I'm saying? Start a business, do something. You know what I mean? There's wisdom with this because like this whole thing I'm talking about, Scorpio, getting to the middle of what these two extremes are, that's spiritual mastery. That's when you overcome the world. You come into the awareness that the world has already been overcome and that every day we've been fighting battles when a war was already won. You know what I mean? So this is a challenge to step into spiritual mastery, but it's up to you guys whether or not you take it, man. But it's really going back to a perspective shift, you know, and trusting what it is that you know innately. So this month is about going within. It's all about that. And I mean, going within, not in the sense of like just meditating and sitting in silence. It's just being like practical and evaluating your life. You know what I mean? And being honest with yourself about your motives. Like, why are you doing this? What point are you trying to prove? What is success to you? What is happiness to you? Have the decisions that you've been making been in alignment with that? You know what I mean? Dude, you know what I wish? I wish I could just get a whole bunch of people together and just like do what I do in therapy. You know, it's just like ask my line of questioning that gets people through breakthroughs, because I can't do this in a tarot reading, but on the inside, I feel like a volcano that's about to explode because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I just want to have a whole group of people and just one by one, I just want to like go through this whole line of questioning that gets you through the breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Scorpio, give me a hug. I love you. That's your reading. I'm going over to Vimeo, Patreon, my website. YouTube members, do you guys extended? I'm probably going to let all this out there because I'm looking at the time. Y'all reading this the longest at this point, so I have to cut it short. But I'm going to get deeper into this in the extended because this is literally like a whole lecture I can give on this, because this is the most important transitional period, I think, in every spiritual person's life, to where this is revolution right here, you know, and I want to get deeper in this. So if you're about that life, follow me over there. If not, I love your freaking face, and I will see you guys sooner than later. Deuces.